Welcome to Start Healing with YFAC, the Yavapai Family Advocacy Center podcast. YFAC provides any and all types of support for victims of interpersonal crime in Yavapai County.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Start Healing with YFAC. I am joined with Missy. You are the executive director. You do everything. It's great to have you as always. Doing things a little different today. So you've got a little co-host with you. So tell us a little bit about what you do and what's going on over there. And
Great. Yes, absolutely. So yes, I'm the executive director at the Yavapai Family Advocacy Center. The Advocacy Center is a place where we provide services to victims of crime, and we categorize them as what we call interpersonal crimes. So our primary victims that come in are victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse. We also help people who are victims of elder abuse, stalking, human trafficking. We help families where there's been a homicide in a family or a suicide in a family. But the majority of our cases fit into those big three categories of child abuse, DV, and sex assault. And so advocacy centers are a place where all the professionals come to one building, and that way a victim can come there. And it's a locked facility, but it's very homey and welcoming and comfortable. And it's a place where they immediately know when they walk in, they're the priority. So they're there and the professionals are coming to them to get what they need from them. That's law enforcement. That could be our prosecutors, nurses who need to do exams, mental health professionals that do therapy. We have attorneys that help them with things, and of course, victim advocates. But, historically, 20, 30 years ago, a person would be assaulted and then go sit in a cold waiting room at a government police building.
very sterile, very
scary.
Yeah, scary.
Go to a hospital and sit in the ER or the waiting room hours and hours until they could be seen. And, they're there with all this chaos around them, but all they can focus on is that they were just sexually assaulted. Mm-hmm. So it's that just re-traumatizes people. It's very devastating for people when that kind of thing happens. And it causes a lot of people to back out and just not want to report.
I was going to say the same thing. I was thinking, if you are stuck in that situation, all you want to do is go home.
Right.
Just leave me alone. I just want to go home. I just need to be in a safe space, and I don't feel safe here, and I just want this over with. So I would imagine going into a place where they are comforted and you feel safe. Now I can, I'm not anxious and wanting to get out of here. I want to, and we can lead them to, let's talk about this. Let's,
Exactly. And when they come in the doors, they are paired with a victim advocate, and that advocate is an expert on this process. And they're the ones that are making sure that law enforcement that need to be there are coming to the building and then preparing the client, saying they're going to be here in 30 minutes. Do you have any questions about what that will look like? I can be with you when you talk with them. And your child's going to be asked to give a forensic interview and explaining to them what that process is, because their child's going to be taken away from them and talked to in a back room somewhere. And that's pretty scary. But in reality, it's a very soft, centered, child-led conversation around what happened to them, but it's done by people who are trained to get the information in a way that it can help us in prosecution. It gathers the evidence that we need when we want to go to court, when we want to make arrests, that kind of thing. So they've got that expert there to talk them through each step of the process and answer those questions, and kind of tell everybody else sometimes, she needs you to slow down a little bit. This is going too fast. She needs to catch up, and she needs to talk to you for a minute about some concerns she's having. And sometimes people don't feel like they have the voice to be able to do that. They feel it's almost like it puts you from being a victim into being a piece of evidence. Mm-hmm. Now you're an object, and people just need to take what they need from you so they can go do their jobs. And they're very empathetic, and they have a ton of compassion, but it's not coming out because they're so passionate about doing their jobs.
Right. They want to make sure they have every single thing they need to stop whatever, or whoever is doing this. That makes so much sense, because you're thinking of, especially somebody who's been in a domestic violence situation. They're used to be told what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And now you're going to a place where there's somebody speaking and helping you, and not let's wait a beat. How are you feeling? And that's probably such a foreign environment for them to have somebody that's actually advocating for them on the spot.
You said it perfectly. I'm glad you brought it up because conceptually, 30, 40 years ago, what came out, and there were advocacy centers around the world before we got them here in the United States, but they started popping up here in the 70s and 80s. And the idea, the common denominator for victims of any of these crimes is that somebody took their control away, right? When you feel threatened, you feel like you are going to be harmed by somebody and you can't stop it. You've lost your control. You don't have any decision-making or control at that point. And so this whole process is set up to put them back in the control seat, to have the right to say, no, not right now. I need a minute. I need to take some time. I need to come back tomorrow because this happened this morning. I've given you 6 more hours today and I don't have any more time left in me.
Well, and so many of us go into, fight or flight or even freeze where they'll shut down completely. They want to fight or they just want to run away. And the fact that you guys are giving them that safe place and someone she's going to need some time. I'm just applaud everything that you guys are doing. These are hard conversations to have because for me, I live in a safe town. Nothing bad ever happens here. Every kid I see has plenty to eat. They don't go into any unsafe environment. And that's how I function and get through every day because in my world, nothing bad ever happens. And I think so many of us have that same belief. Not in my town. That would never happen here. This could possibly ever happen.
Again, like you are saying the most perfect things to lead into, what I would love to let people know. We all think that. And I live in this town and I've lived here since 2004 and I feel the same way for 20 years, right? But the reality is that's not true. My center gave services to almost 1,400 victims last year from Yavapai County. Right. And every single year, our numbers increase anywhere between 5 and 18%. That is not to say that crime rates are increasing 5 to 18%. What it is that people are becoming more aware of our center, our system and our society and our community are becoming less tolerant of people who are abusive. And we're not going to sweep it under the rug or ignore it or be quiet anymore. We want people to get help and we want the people who are doing it to know that it's not going to be tolerated and we're not going to let it happen. Our law enforcement agencies are on that same path. They are focused more on getting trauma care training for all of their officers. So they know it's not just about collecting the evidence from this person. It's about taking care of them at the same time and getting them help. And of that 1,400 people, a little over half of them are children, right? So we have a lot of children in this community. And, that's not to say that we have 800 people out there that want to hurt their kids. We have people that get in really bad situations, make really bad decisions for a lot of reasons.
Lost a temper or something.
Right. Yeah. Untreated mental health, substance abuse issues, past trauma of their own that was never addressed, all kinds of issues. And this is one piece of intervention, right? And so we want to intervene now with these kids in the right way so we can address their trauma now and they are not going to grow up in a family system or a cycle that's going to perpetuate this for them in the future, where they're either going to grow up to only know how to play the victim role or grow up and lash out and become one of the people who are abusive. So it's just, this kind of care is so important to stop the cycle of abuse as well as address it when it happens.
100%. And I think too, as a society, there used to be, the don't ask, don't tell, but I think it's the same. But I'm sure they did fall down again, or I'm sure they did run into a door again. And I think it's becoming more common to err on the side of, I acted and there wasn't anything wrong. Where I think before, so many people are so afraid to say something. It's like, I've noticed this behavior and I should have said something a long time ago. Or you hear something coming from an apartment or a house next door and nobody says anything. And it's like, maybe I'm hoping now that people are not, they see something and they're actually saying something and they're bringing attention to something, even if you're wrong?
Well, in my role as the director at the Advocacy Center, I also serve as the Children's Justice Coordinator for Yavapai County. That's an assignment that's given to me by the governor's office. And as part of that role, I do mandated reporter training around our county. And I train probably 12 to 1,500 people a year. And I always tell people in my training, when you call and make a report, you are not accusing anybody of anything. What you're doing is you saw a snapshot that was concerning. You saw one instance, one situation, one mark, one something that caused concern for you, and you are worried about a child and their safety. And so all you're doing is asking the experts to go in and take a bigger look, because the look that they're taking is about the whole system, what's going on in the home underneath this. If there is a mark that was caused by discipline by a parent, what caused the family to get to the point where that was all the parents thought they could do to stop this behavior, right? And what can we do to give them other tools and support them in other ways? And the system is set up to be that way. And so you're always you're asking the experts to go in and take a better look. And like you said, if it's nothing and it wasn't true, that's okay too. It's gonna let them know that there are people out there. There are checks and balances. We do want to make sure that all kids are okay and safe, but we're also here to support you as a family as well.
Well, and I would have to assume the first thought is, oh, we got a phone call. Somebody has seen something. We're going to immediately walk in, arrest the parent, and take the child away. That's what people think. And it's not what happened. Before this job, I was the investigation supervisor for the Department of Child Safety in Prescott for, almost 13 years I worked there. And our office alone received a couple thousand, 3,000-4,000 reports a year, and removed, less than 2% of those. I mean, it's not common. You have to remove kids in chronic situations and in really severe situations where the child, if you walked away, the child would be either seriously hurt or possibly killed, and you can't leave them there. You have to do something to intervene in that moment. Before that, there are just a million different variations of how you can provide support, intervention, help the family bring in a safety monitor to be there if mom's not capable of doing it all on her own, but maybe she can get there with help and training, or get somebody else to help her. So the system really tries to use families' natural resources, like who can help you? Are your parents available? Or is your sister available? Whatever. So it's just set up to be more supportive and helpful than punitive. But of course, when we watch TV or read the newspaper, we only see the most sensational stories, right? And those are the ripping kids out of homes kinds of things. And so that's all people have in their mind. That's the only image that they have. So I think we should still, if you see something, if if you go home at night and it's weighing on you, there's a problem, and so if that happened, do we call 911? Do we call you?
You can call the police, or you can call the Department of Child Safety. Those are the two agencies by statute, by Arizona state law, that if you make a child abuse report, it needs to go to one of those two agencies, and then they will take it further and look into it. And there's even an online website where if you're kind of concerned, but the child's not going to get really hurt today, but it's more chronic, say they're coming and begging for food every day, but they look nourished, they look okay, you can go online and make a report too. There's a website online where you can fill out the information and make a report. And people can make a report to DCS anonymously, so you're never having to give your name or information. Law enforcement, it's not that case, but I do always tell people, if you feel like right now this kid's in danger and they need somebody to come and check on him right now, you should call law enforcement, because DCS has varying response times, and sometimes they won't go out for a week if it's really mild. So it's kind of, but yes.
It's kind of like when you go to the emergency room. They're taking the most traumatic cases first.
Right.
So it's, you think something's going on, we're going to get there when we can get there. But if something is happening, definitely call 911.
And in those severe cases, when there's child abuse, then DCS and law enforcement bring those kiddos to my center. So when they bring them to our center, we are the only center in the county that does forensic interviews. We have trained staff that will watch the kid or interview the child while Department of Child Safety and law enforcement are watching the interview. So they're taking notes and gathering all their evidence while we conduct that interview in this trained, trauma-informed way. Hopefully to be least kind of traumatizing for the child. And then all medical exams, so sex assault exams and strangulation exams, whether it's an adult or a child, those are all done at my center for the county as well. So when it's a severe case, those agencies bring those children to our center. And then again, like I said, that's where we have that whole multidisciplinary team at the center surrounding the victim and the family and working with them there.
Probably the first time in a long time these kids or people have felt safe.
It is. It is in a lot of ways. But, if it goes back some to what I was saying about people that grow up in trauma kind of tend to perpetuate trauma. So a lot of these people also have a lot of anxiety around authoritative figures. That's another reason why the Advocacy Center is so good. We're not law enforcement. We're not affiliated with any of those agencies. We're just a part of the team. So we can be there and people will have people come in and tell us, I don't trust police. I don't like them. We've had little kids tell us they're mean to my mom and dad. They're always at my house yelling at my mom and dad. And so really trying to buffer that at the same time, letting them know, these people are here to help you. They're here to
part of that, but that's their environment.
Right.
When they hear constantly, this and that about the police, that's all they know. So,
and we have the best officers here and the best detectives. They're really good when they know that's an issue about taking the time with the parent and with the child to say, look, here, when you're here and we're doing this, your well-being is my 100% focus. If I have to come to your house on another day for something, we'll deal with that then, and hopefully I won't. But I want to be here for you in this capacity right now. So they're just great. They're just great officers.
Awesome. So I can't imagine that, keeping something like this going.
No.
It's got to be. And I'm assuming these families that come into your place are not receiving a bill. So how do you get funding? How is this working?
So everything we do at the center is 100% free of charge to victims. There's never a bill. We don't take insurance. No, nothing like that. And that's very important to, the integrity and the quality of our service and our work. So we receive funding through some federal grants, state grants. We apply for private grants. We do get support through each of the municipalities in our county, but a big way, every year I start my year out when I'm creating my budget at about $120,000 deficit. If I put in all my grants and the funding I know I'm going to get from the county, now I've got to go out and kind of chase down this at least $100,000 to $120,000 to just keep me in the black, just break even. And that's in large part because of the increase in clients every year. I can't project that, or my grants are 3-year grants. And so I'm asking for money that I'll be getting 3 years from now, but I didn't project enough. Right. And it's just not always available through those processes. So we have, we obviously love private donations. And then we do a fundraiser every year, and it's called Hope Still Floats. It's a super fun event. We have stuck with the speakeasy kind of theme for the last few years, which has been really fun and popular. And it's a silent auction, raffle, dinner, gala kind of event. We have live music and dancing, and but it's around that kind of 30s, 40s theme. People dress really cool. And we really count on this fundraiser every year to help us raise money for the center through either sponsorships or donations or buying items at the event itself. So I'm happy you asked about that, because I'd really want to talk about our event. This year's our 10th annual one, which is huge for us. And we're going to hold it at the Prescott Rodeo Grounds again this year. Okay. We love that place. It's just been a wonderful venue for us. And it'll be on October 19th. Our event starts at 5:30. You have the flyer there. Yeah, I can't remember if we put 5 or 5:30, but my brain has been organizing multiple events at the same time these last few weeks. So it's at 5 p.m. on October 19th. The tickets are available on our website at YFAC.org. That's YFAC.org. We have sponsorship opportunities, which we would love to talk to people about that. I would love for them to give me a call at the center. Our number is 928-775-0669, and they can ask for me, or someone else there can certainly help them. But just even if they'd like to call in and learn more about it, give us an email address and we will email them all the information. And hopefully they would love to attend the event and also support it in other ways.
Are you accepting possible donations for raffle prizes or anything?
We are, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. We've been out. We're trying to put together like packages of experiences. So for instance, the Findlay Toyota Center gave us tickets to some events. We're looking to get like a hotel night and a dinner to go with that. So somebody can have a weekend, or maybe a girls' day experience with spa, stuff like that. And then we have smaller donated items and we put those in a raffle. So we have a lot of fun things that we'll have there to auction off or raffle off.
Perfect. Sounds like a fun event for a good cause. Do you guys also participate in like the tax donations? Are they able to?
We have not yet, but we are hoping to get approved to get the Arizona state tax credit status set up for next year.
Oh, good. We
have not had it set up yet. So that's something on our radar and that we're working towards. Yeah.
Perfect. But if somebody out there is just, we've all seen stuff as kids, we've all experienced things. If this is, as I'm sitting here going, how am I not more involved in this? How do I not? One, like I said, I've got blinders on, so I'd like to think these things don't have to exist in our town. But just sitting here talking with you is so eye-opening. And, if you're listening to this and it does pull at your heartstrings and this is something that you want to get behind, no time that you have to involve. It's just give some money so you can stay open and you can, keep doing what you're doing for these families. I just thank you so much for doing this, because I don't want to ever hear bad news. And the fact that you're in the trenches with these children and these families and moms and dads, and it's just a testament to the type of person you are, and to be able to do that and still walk around with a smile on your face.
So. It's funny. People say stuff like that all the time. And I'll tell you, like I grew up in a long line of law enforcement, like my dad, my grandfather, my aunts and uncles, my uncles and my husband, my nephews. And it's funny because I guess I just grew up kind of knowing that bad things happen to people, right? To me, it's really exciting and rewarding and brings me joy that I get to be part of this process that helps people heal in such a great way and helps stop the cycle from continuing on down the road, because I've seen that. I mean, I've been doing this work now in one capacity or another for 30 some years. And I have seen people literally who came from just an entire life of trauma from the time they were little. And then they get the right kind of care and they get the right trauma-informed support, and they understand that there's people out there that care and want to help them. And they start to believe that they deserve safety. They deserve to feel happy. They deserve to be their own hero, and they deserve to have a place in the world. And that is positive. And it just changes a person. I mean, physically they start to look different. It's just so empowering and wonderful to be part of that whole process. And I love it.
Yep. Healing from within, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everything that you do. And I really enjoyed sitting down and talking with you, Missy. And everybody, if you have not gotten your tickets yet, please go to YFAC.org and get those tickets, support the event. If you can't make it, anything helps, I would assume, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Start Healing with YFAC, the Yavapai Family Advocacy Center podcast. If you or someone you know needs assistance, please don't hesitate to contact us online at yfac.org or call us at 928-775-0669. Start Healing with YFAC is proud to be on Cast 11, Prescott's podcast network. Find us wherever you stream your podcasts.